Okay, now we're going to go into part two of this. It's not really part two, it's separate, but done in the same video. And so I'm going to rehash over just what he lied about. What he's trying to tell you now is that he's retracting and that someone busted him and he's got to retract something. So what he does is he says, I showed you the wrong picture and everything and don't know what I'm talking about. And Andromeda was the light-skinned person here, which he still claims to be Ethiopian, and he claims to be sub-Saharan Negroids. You'll see that in just a second. And that the black is all just symbology, and it's symbolic art.
Her image, and Andromeda in all her pureness and in her light might have been portrayed as a lighter image, but we all know she was an Ethiopian.
And like he lies, and like I'm fixing to show you, just like I did in the last video, and I hate going back and showing you things, and I'm sure my people don't say, man, he's going to show that damn thing again with all the brown on it. Yes, I am going to show you what the name of Ethiopia means and how it doesn't have anything to do with Negroids, for they talk about them in the Iliad and the Odyssey and all the way through in all places all over the inhabited world. And every brown spot that's on this video, on this picture right here, is Ethiopians, and it has nothing to do with Negroids whatsoever. Look at them all at the end of river valleys. And this is all your ancient farmers, basically. And but blacks are trying to claim that. Now, look at the weird map here. There's no sub-Saharan Africa. And this Macrobians, which are down near where we call Ethiopia today, are described as tall Caucasian men, and they live long lives. So kind of embarrassing for that whole thing that they try to come up with and say, oh, well, admixed Negroids were always in the Horn. And it's like, that's a recent thing. They're about 50% Caucasian, 40 to 50% Caucasian, but the farther we go back, that radically changes. And I've shown that in a lot of videos and don't have to go into it now, but so you can see that he actually just tried to say that whenever Greeks show light-colored skinned people and black-skinned people, that it's symbolic and that they all still mean somehow sub-Saharan Negroids. He's going to actually try to make that connection again too.
Like I said many times, Ethiopians to the Greeks were sub-Saharan Africans.
You see that. There you go again. So Ethiopia, and you can look at 7 Phoenician 7 genetic video information on this, and it'll show you they don't have sub-Saharan DNA into them. And so it's a total waste to even try it. But he, look at the look on his face. He tried so hard. He want to lie. I'm busted, and now watch me try to twist. First I twist, and then I nay.
We can apply this logic to Memnon as well. Memnon is sometimes portrayed with lighter skin. And this...
Oh, snap. And this looks just like Jesus and going with an angel and everything, and it has to do with the Caucasian religion and all symbology. Now, we don't look at this pagan stuff anymore, because Bible, but yeah, that's an angel right there, and that's a Jesus figure and everything that goes on with it. And no, he's not a Negro, and he's going to try to say that because he's pure, they try to draw him as a Caucasian. He was a Negro, but he was nice enough they drew him as a Caucasian or something silly. It's pathetic, but watch him say it.
Image where he's dying, he is perceived as being pure or being sent to above to be immortalized by Zeus.
In heaven, another part of Caucasian religion that has to go with all these connective people.
And in another image of Memnon, we see him in a dark image in battle against Achilles.
And Achilles was known as Xanthos, and he has blonde hair. And what's amazing is Memnon here in the picture is drawn with red hair. And there's 2 different guys, and they both have beards. And even though this guy can pull off a beard, which he's shaved off, Negroids without admix really grow little to no facial hair whatsoever. It's a commonly known thing. But regardless of that, we're talking about Greeks so far away from the Negro world, it's not even funny. But man, they try to claim anything they can except West African primitives. They don't want to claim that at all. Oh, there's a light lady there. Oh, there's a light lady here. Oh, no, that means Negroid too. Really.
And we all know Achilles was a Greek, yet he's portrayed as a black image or with having black skin,
same color
as Memnon. So like I say, these images were sometimes compared to darkness and light, Darkness would reveal dramatic scenes, and lightness would reveal pure scenes. So we got to keep that in mind. But thank you so much, Cool 2T, for pointing that out. And I hope you continue to watch my videos. And
Yeah, even though I debunked and I lied to Negroes and I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm fixing to tell you that I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's all about learning. Not that I'm learned, man, and I can tell you the truth. I've already mixed this stuff all up and I don't know what I'm talking about.
point out some more stuff. This is actually the point of my whole channel, is to discuss and learn and grow. So I appreciate that. But this goes into a larger theme of what I want to talk about. Many times I hear people asking me, yo, why are you always stuck on East Africa? Why don't you talk about, more West African civilizations? And why do you always try and connect West Africa with East Africa? Or why do so many African Americans try and connect to East Africa more so than West Africa?
That's from jealousy and an inferiority complex, that West Africans were just primitives and stuff, and the world didn't know they existed, and they didn't know the world existed. And because of that, they jealously try to claim some black people somewhere did something, and then they say we's, like they were those somehow. It's a disgusting thing that you unless you have a low IQ, can't even understand that they would try to put it together, but they try so hard.
Today, I'm going to show you these connections.
Today, I'm going to debunk every single one of those connections.
Now, guys, let's really think about this. If humanity's origins is believed to come from East Africa, where do you guys think West Africans came from?
And this is the map of what they showed Caucasians living in ancient times. There's a place known as the Hofmeyr site right about at my point now, and it shows Caucasians at 40,000 BC in Africa. And Blombos Rock Cave down here shows a red ochre setup and everything that goes with it and stuff for 100,000 years. But and they've shown all of these different Caucasoids that are up through here way before Egypt. I mean, way before Egypt, and found dead people and stuff through here, and even found some of the earliest Homo sapiens over here in East Africa. But now they found one in this Jebel Erud cave up here in Caucasian lands also in North Africa, and it shows 315,000 BC that there was Homo sapiens. Yeah, and none of this have to do with Negroids. See, these people that are from this little area right here, just this little area right here, are trying to claim they is Weezems. All of this and out of this. And that's never going to be seen as true. And so they're going to keep trying to profess a lie, and it's past disgusting. Let's see what he tries to make connections of.
Now, if this theory is correct, these tribes would have origin stories about them coming from East Africa.
No, Caucasians seem to have come out of East Africa. We don't know the origin of black people or Negroids, because the oldest Negroid we've ever found, you can look this up, is about 4600 BC, give or take about 150 years either side. Yeah, and radiocarbon dating and stuff. And before that, they're all proto-Negroids. Like Nubian Collian A was, it seems, had a different aspect to them than Nubian C, and they definitely show that. Of course, Nubians aren't related whatsoever to these people in him that's talking right there, but they want to make connections. They want to say we's, and it's not we's, it's thems. You were West African primitives through the whole thing and didn't do anything, but you're trying to claim somebody else, right? So let's just let them destroy this whenever he tries to say, well, if people come out of Africa, then West Africans are from East Africa. And it's like, no, they weren't. No, and you can't make that connection. And they go to Proto-Negroid right before 4600. And the oldest one ever found is 9,100 years old at Irualiru. And you can look that up. And if you just wiki oldest Negroid skull ever found, you're going to see that. What you aren't going to see is them claim the things that black people claim.
And that's exactly what we see today. Now, one of my personal favorite tribes is the Dogon. Now, the Dogon claim in their oral history that they came from Egypt. And proof...
No, I haven't actually seen that whatsoever. People that went there and talked to them got them to believe it. And it looks like almost a cargo cult that they said it to them and they go, yeah, and things. But People have said, oh, they know all about the stars and they know all about this, that they had this depiction that was about Sirius and stuff, and it seems odd, and this is one of the stars they talked about. Well, incredibly, they tell you that white spacemen came down and told them about that, and the elder there, Credo Mutwa, tells you so. Nowadays, he's starting to change his story, but there are still videos where he says it, and he shows you a picture he drew of a very Nordic-looking man, and he said those are the people that came and told us about all that. So that really discounts it whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. But no. So how can you connect West African primitives to East Africans that genetics and everything and linguistics and culture shows you they didn't have any connection? Well, he's going to try. His lame excuse is, well, they say Caucasians came out of East Africa in ancient times whenever we were studying it, so that meant everybody. So now all of a sudden, Wees was East African primitives and ran to West Africa. Well, that's pathetic. Let's go.
Proof of this is through their religion and their astronomical observations. You see, when Europeans visited these Dogon people, they realized they had a lot of knowledge about the stars. And they were just like, how did these guys know so much about, the stars and astronomy?
And they went back and talked to them and stuff, and they found out they don't know anything about astronomy, that they didn't know about Sirius A and B and the difference between them and the whole thing that goes on. And they thought, wow, it's weird that you would know that because we didn't know about it till telescopes. Oh boy, and they wrote this article about it. Then people went back and they go, they didn't know anything about that. And now they're starting to cargo called off what the last guy said. That's terrible.
And they said, oh, our ancestors were Egyptians and we learned it from them. We came from Egypt.
Oh, we was Egyptian. Now, in a minute, he's going to show you 9 other places that all claim they were Egyptians, and they're all Negroids, and Egypt is Caucasians from the very start. I want to show you that real quick here, just for the hell of it. And I know my normal people have seen this so many times, but I'm going to show you. All you type in is blue-eyed Egyptians. Okay, you can type in Egyptians or whatever to it, but blue-eyed Egyptians, you'll see from the earliest dynasties, 4th dynasty, 5th dynasty, 6th dynasty, all the way to the 12th dynasty in Horaha, and these all have blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes. Everybody in this has blue eyes, pale skin. Oh my gosh, Caucasian features. No, they're not a Negroid. Nobody watching this video right now is going to go, they was Negroes. Oh, well, a low IQ idiot might try. And he'll be in the comments down below trying to prove something else and say other things. It'll be disgusting also. But Nefertiti, and they threw a fit about her. And she's got that one blue eye left. Yeah, the other one's gone, but that one's here. And look at her skin and how pale she is. When they did the recreation, they drew her one extra shade darker to try to make people happy. And didn't put her eyes as blue, but brown. And they still weren't happy. And it shows you can't make a Negro happy unless you say everybody was Negroids. And that's disgusting. I'm a little bit darker than her if I show up. I don't know if I show up at this time. Damn, I keep showing it, and half the time it doesn't show up. Half the time it does, though. Or maybe less. So we see blue-eyed Egyptians from the earliest dynasties, and these Caucasians here that go with it. And you can see things that simply look like this. And, I want you to try to tell me that this is a Negroid. Try real hard. Grunt and poot, but you're not going to get anybody to believe your lie. This is from the Nakata series. These are things that are found pre-dynastic, hundreds and hundreds of years before even Egypt got together as one dynasty. And here we see Caucasian-eared, heavy-eyebrowed, blue-eyed, slim-nosed, small-lipped Caucasian statues. And that kind of ruins it. But the genetics of the Barbarians ruin it too, and everything in the Nakatas and all their things. They're comparing Caucasians to Caucasians. Not a single one is Negroid whatsoever. So whenever we go back here now and we go to where he keeps trying to say Negroids are saying they were Caucasians, I can understand, because I deal with it on a daily basis, where black people try to claim anything but being from West Africa, and he's telling you now, why West Africans grip on any other civilization than their own. Look at his sad look.
And of course, they try to disregard this and come up with a whole lot of different excuses about the origins of these Dogon.
Well, of course,
But
it's
that's
bullshit.
where they say they come from. And that plays into the larger theme of that theory of West African origins residing in East Africa. Another tribe is the Yoruba. Now, the Yoruba are in Nigeria today, and the Dogon were in Mali.
Now, the Yoruba, what's interesting about them, if I'm not mistaken, in the last video, well, 2 videos ago now, he described how this one black queen, it's my one on black queens, and he described how this one black queen took those people out of being primitives, that they were just primitives. He openly admits it, and in the picture he uses, she's riding on a horse carrying a sword and all these Caucasian accoutrements that are attached to her. And isn't that strange? Horses, those came from the Hyksos and everything. How do they have all these connections? Who gave you all these horses? How did that happen? But somehow they're going to connect. These people try to say we was Egyptians too. It's funny how every black primitive tries to claim Egyptian and not where they were from.
Yoruba are a very popular tribe, and they were actually taken in slavery as well. They were enslaved, just like many other different tribes. And the Yoruba have a rich oral history of coming from East Africa.
They don't have a rich written history because they never had writing. In fact, there is no real writing over all of Negroids in sub-Saharan Africa. Oh, there's a couple they can't decipher that just show some ideogram type writing, and people are real good at it. Went over it, Caucasians figured out hieroglyphics and all the other things and deciphered all these ancient languages, and they've tried like hell to do that, and it's not even really a language, and it's not even a true phonetic language or anything like that whatsoever. They didn't have any written languages, but they've got an oral history. No telling how old that oral history is, 115, couple of generations. Oh, they say it goes back. They say a lot of things. Herodotus talks about how they say there are giant ants the size of dogs that dig in India and pull up gold, and they chase down and kill camels, and you got to run real fast. And a few other things that can easily be debunked, like this that he's trying to pull off.
A lot of their words and linguistics are shared with Egyptian words, and they themselves claim that they come from the Nile,
which is a lie, because all these people can't be coming from the Nile, and since blacks weren't even allowed into the Nile by decrees like the Semna Stele of Senusret III, which clearly denotes that black people aren't even allowed into Egypt, and whenever they'll do that praise and come give them money, that they're going to be doing it in Icon. And whenever you see that on the walls and you think that he's coming up and giving something to a pharaoh, they never even got to see the pharaoh. Hell no, he doesn't put himself in that position. No, these guys will come to Icon way up there, right at Moreau, and they will give us the things that they give and praise from there. We don't even need to see them, and I don't want to see one of them bow to me. I don't want to see one of them. They aren't allowed into Egypt. Yet he's going to claim all these black people from Egypt whenever Egypt was a Caucasian society, like I've just shown. It gets more disgusting. Let's continue.
Which is very interesting.
No, it's not.
Another tribe is the Fulani.
The Fulani.
Now, the Fulani are believed to be the largest nomadic tribe in Africa, if not the world, and they're found throughout many regions in West Africa. Now, the Fulani have many different subgroups, and the Fulani themselves were also enslaved and taken to the New World. And the Fulani can be found in Nigeria, in Mali, in Cameroon, and Guinea-Bissau, all throughout West Africa. And
they aren't part of the Egyptians in any way, shape, or form, but he's going to tell you that they claim to be. So now we've got 3 different groups, and his group from West African primitives claiming it from there. And seeing as how their genetics don't hook up, there's an impossibility that this could be even in effect. Well, which one is the one that were Egyptians? None of them. They were Caucasians. I've just showed that to you.
They themselves claim that they come from Egypt or from East Africa. Another tribe is the Balanta. Now, the Balanta are found in Guinea-Bissau today. And in their oral tradition, they say they left Egypt and Nubia because of drought and wars.
They left Egypt and Nubia, or they left Nubia and Sudan? It's a big, huge difference whenever you keep trying to throw Egypt in there whenever blacks weren't even allowed to step foot in it. There's a price on their head worth more than a live one. They did not want any slaves of them in any way, shape, or form. It didn't want it. All you had to do was kill one and cut off his right hand, and they would give you money. There were guys that would hunt the vile Nubian troglodytes, just like it says in Herodotus's work. They like Herodotus so much. How about the Garamantes hunt the vile Negro troglodytes? That means primitive, unaware cave dwellers. They are the fastest afoot of any they have seen. Do you think that's black people too? So they chase them on 4-horse chariots. He tells you they eat snakes, lizards, and other crawling things, and their speech is unique, and they screech like bats when caught. And a lot of people have said that may have to do with the Khoisan. One thing's for sure, it doesn't have to do with is West African primitives, and one thing for sure, the Egyptians were Caucasians, and they may have hunted vile Negroids at one time, and they may have looked like this, and they may have run away from it, but that doesn't mean we was Egyptians. How pathetic.
And so, you know, when Europeans heard this tradition, they tested their DNA, and they found that they had the M1 marker, and the M1 marker is found in Sudan today.
And so does this mean that some of these people went over here during the Bantu expansion that we all well know? Or is he going to try to say ancient Sudan come all the way over here? And while their genetics doesn't even match up like he's trying to portray, there is a marker that looks the same, and it's something attached to Bantu expansion and never to the Egyptians. Let's continue.
So their oral history backed up the DNA evidence and science. Now another tribe is the Hausa. Now the Hausa today are in modern day Nigeria, and the Hausa are believed to have come from Sudan. The Hausa themselves have an oral tradition of being the descendants of the ancient Nubians, and
they lie their ass off too, because genetics show that they aren't really directly connected to them in any way, shape, or form. But they were so primitive that even the Nubians were so cool, they want to latch onto them, and they can't latch onto the Caucasian Egyptians, but they can say, you know, those vile Nubian troglodytes? Wheeze.
They say they move westward over time due to drought and wars themselves. Now the Wolof, they're in Senegal today, I believe, and Cheikh Anta Diop is actually a descendant of the Wolof people. Now Cheikh Anta Diop is an interesting man, and he's
not very interesting, really. After you go through it, it shows that he tried to make connections, and just like all Negroids, he tried to say Senegalese used to be the pyramid builders. And he made false connections and everything, and a lot of lies. And there's a lot of video debunks about him, word for word through it, genetic proving and everything. After the UNESCO conference that he spoke at and everything, within a week they had pretty much debunked everything. They didn't do it at the conference, but they pretty much debunked everything that he had to say whatsoever, and it's been debunked ever since. It was actually kind of debunked even before black people heard about it, and they started jumping up and down, yee! Well, how many of you are Senegalese? Right, but he's trying to make connections there because they are so dark compared to other people in that area that they might have hooked up to Nilotes, who are tar black.
basically a pioneer in Pan-Africanism. And what he said was that there's a two-cradle theory. And in this theory, he said that there has to be a connection between West Africans and East Africans. And when we find those connections, that is when we're going to find our greatest evidence of, Pan-Africanism and connections between Egyptians and the rest of the continent.
No, you're never going to connect Negroids to Egyptians. They were Caucasians through and through. And recently they did that genetic test of the middle central Egypt burial ground that was all the way from older kingdoms all the way through. And they thought they would see a difference in their genetics change through time. And they initially thought perhaps it starts out more Negroid and then ends up being less when all the other people come in, like black people profess. Let's see what the truth is. And the truth is, no, they have little to no African sub-Saharan mixture whatsoever, all the way through, all the way even to the end throughout the Romans. And now, there's mix there now, but hold on. The people living there now are Arabic, and they have admix from the Islamic slave trade, and they only have a 1% connection with ancient Egyptians. They aren't them anyway. Oh, well, we knew that a long time ago. Maybe that's the reason Egypt keeps hiding things like King Tut's DNA and stuff, is because it shows it hooks up to Anatolians and Europeans and Caucasians, and they don't want to pull that off. They want to act like we's. So you can see Arabians pulling the we's situation, while blacks pull the we's situation. While a minute ago I showed you these blue-eyed guys and that situation, and their DNA hooks up quite a bit to Europe. In fact, King Tut's DNA shows that 50% of Western Europeans are related to him, in a high concentration around London and places. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with Negroids whatsoever, but they still try. Even though that's in their face, they still try. Now, this was back from 2014, so he's been totally debunked, and probably should throw all these videos away and remake new ones where he doesn't try to claim Ethiopians and show jug art and stuff that's a lie and make himself into a fool. But he can't quit. He's going to claim more black people tried to say we was Egyptians.
And so the Wolof he found had a linguistic connection with ancient Egypt, just like the...
And that's a lie too, and people have debunked that. You get a couple of words out of things, and this sounds kind of like that, and everything. Oh, no. You can't make true connections.
Yoruba had as well. A lot of their words were ancient Egyptian words, and they were
loan words. Hey, I want to give you an example here. The words coming out of that Negro's mouth right now, are those Caucasian words, or those have to do with West African primitives? Just a simple thought.
A lot of different correlations in the religion as well. Now, the last tribe I want to point out are the Mende. Now, the Mende are in modern-day Sierra Leone, and the Mende were actually the tribe in the Amistad, in which they revolted and tried to get their freedom.
So they were slaves, and they tried to pull off the Amistad thing, and they talk about how primitive they are and how they did everything, and this lady doesn't look like an Egyptian whatsoever, and that looks like a Nubian, not an Egyptian, way darker than the color that's about like this on the wall that you see of Egyptians, and I look like myself, and I'm Irish. No, we isms.
And so the Mende have an oral tradition of, or they're believed, the Mende are believed to come from modern-day Sudan.
Now, you had to cut out that they have an oral tradition and then turn it into they believe, because they do not have an oral tradition that they came from Egypt, but you're lying out your ass. And now you're saying they believe, and who are you saying they believe? Black people who want somebody to believe something say that.
Or East Africa. Now, notable Mende people today in America is Isaiah Washington and Michael Williams. Now, guys, if you have any more African tribes that you want to point out to me, I'll be more than happy to share it with you guys.
And if you have any more black African tribes you want to say, hey, these primitives over here, they were the smart Egyptians with this cool Caucasian religion and different language that hooks up to Afro-Asiatic, and they're Caucasians and blonde and red-haired and blue-eyed and all kinds of things through the whole thing. And if you're going to try to connect him to them, just let me know, and I'll debunk the hell out of it and laugh at you, or you could probably quit this disgusting lie. But you see in my videos, when you get down there, there are ones that can't quit, and as soon as you debunk them, they just go rampant, and then they put posts, 30 posts, they try to get on all your posts. Have a guy recently, he's the current leech mooch, where he has clicked on my thing and decided to go through my videos, and all he does is probably watch 4 seconds and then type and blacks is wheeze and stuff, and he just keeps going and try to post over and over already long ago debunked things and lies like he talked about with Agamemnon and things like that, and he can't make those connections, and West African primitives didn't know it existed, but man, they try so hard. So here's another clear example, and that's just, he's going to salutate out the end of it and tell you that he still loves you, even though he was totally wrong and he lied about the jug, and that they don't have anything to do with it, and that really the only connection that they have is some hearsay nowadays due to jealousy, and really they have no connection linguistically or genetically to them whatsoever. And 7 Phoenician 7 is taken the tribes around all of these people, and Fulani and all these people, and made a video about them and how they have DNA admix and where this and that comes from and stuff. and it shows you the complete fail of the Negro lie. But they still, now amazingly, all this information is out, and they're still hopping up and down and saying they were anybody but West African primitives. And the world knows they were nothing but West African primitives. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. And we'll get on to another one, and I may look at a few more of this, guys, but as you can tell, it might make sense to you that after I do 3 of these videos and destroy the idea that that dude's done, yeah, that dude's burnt, crisp, and done, and I move on. But sometimes people will point to, oh, you can't debunk this. Oh, I can't, huh? I've already done it, and you don't even know. You haven't looked at my old videos. I've already been there, done that. But hop up and down, yee! Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. Peace.